Hey, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm super thrilled to have you today. But before diving into the subject, just a few words about who I am. My name is Clement. I'm a software engineer and I love playing with APIs. I love playing with payment APIs, maybe Stripe or PayPal. I love playing with communication API, Twilio. We're going to talk a lot about Twilio in the third episode of this session. I'm in love with Search API, of course, using Algolia. I'm in love with any kind of API, videos, AI, whatever. And I love using these APIs building new products so that I'm an entrepreneur. And as every entrepreneur, I'm a coffee lover. Cheers. And in my free time, I'm an aspiring trail runner and I'm a sailing fanatic. I've grown up near Dunkirk in France and I love the sea. But enough talking about me. If you want to follow along, my Twitter and my Clubhouse, this new audio nifty social network, is available right here. I'm at Clément Sauvage on it. But just before beginning, a very few words. I'm not an Algolian. I love Algolia, but I'm not an Algolian, so I can't and I won't endorse for the company. Let's dive into the product we are going to build together. but first, sorry. Where are store locator used and what is a store locator? Before we have a look at the final app preview, let's quickly remind ourselves to what we mean by store locator and what role they play those days. Of course, on the web, you can find easily the nearest store near you to pick up your order, and it's super useful those past year and a half with the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, meaning that shops weren't opened and people needed to place their order online, pay online, and then go and grab their order right away on the nearest store. You can then also choose and test the right fit, maybe with AR and VR stuff. You can list items on the product we're listing, and then people could select the colors, the size, the price, whatever. This is an example taken from Lululemon, which is basically a sports outfit, which is available only in the US and Canada. I haven't seen any of these shop in France. I'm French, by the way, if you don't know it. But I have a few other examples. I'm gonna switch to them right now. Here it is. So the very first one is on a very well-known furniture company. Here, you can basically choose the product. Hey, I'm French. I need some rack to handle my wine bottles. Or is it? This is vinegar. It's not wine. Whatever. So I just go and look up for the items. Here it's Ivar. IKEA has all of these nifty weirdo names, whatever. And I can choose a shop, and here I see that I'm going to check at other IKEA store because my IKEA I don't have the product. And let's type London here. Oh damn! It seems that Greenwich is out of stock either. Let's move a tiny bit, and I'm going to go to Bath maybe. And they don't have any. Okay, they don't have any. Oh, I see that they got one in Cardiff. So let's go to Cardiff, select the store, and then I can have all the pack to build my Ivar. But if I want, anyway, a shop who don't have the product, so let's move back to London, check out other IKEA store. Let's move back to London. And I see that Greenwich is out of stock, but if I click on it and if I select this store, I can just leave my phone number here and press 33 because I'm French. And I've read the terms and agreement, and if I click send a notification, I will get a text when it's gonna be in stock once more. And this is exactly what we are gonna build together. Another example, very nifty, and you may know it, it's on apple.com, where you can basically choose your Apple product, your beloved Apple product. This is the M1 iPad, which is terrible. I'm going to choose the 11-inch iPad Pro in space gray in 128 gigabytes with Wi-Fi. I don't want any engraving, otherwise I won't be able to pick up in store. Even if the Apple Pencil is great, I don't need it. I don't need any keyboard. And what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to pick up here at Apple World Trade Center. And if I don't want any Apple World Trade Center, I can just type here. If it works, what's happening? Done. Apple is not responding. Let's type New York. And you see here all the other stores where this beautiful iPad is available. I won't buy it, and I'm in France, so I won't take the travel to New York to get one because I have an Apple store right across the corner. But here you go to a typical BOPIS, so buy online, pick up in store experience. And of course, it's based on delivery location. Let's have a look at the product we are going to build together. So I'm handling a brand name named Spencer Williams, which has an exclusive partnership with airports. So basically, we are implanted in every airport in the world. So here I have a map with all the location of my stores, and I want to offer my customers to look for a location based first on their IP. So here I can zoom in and zoom out on the map, and as I move the map here, the airports evolve with all location of the stores where it's available. Then on the left side of the screen, I have a list of shops with all the services provided by these shops, and I can move along here, and the maps update in real time. If I pick up the store here, the pin updates to show its location. Also, I can search for a place. Let's say I want to go back in Marseille because I'm French once more. And if I click on Marseille, I got, and it doesn't shows up. There it is. Marseille, Provence. Great. So let's dive into the session we are going to do together. So the first one and part one, so today, we're going to do this small introduction about the BOPIS, what we've already done, and we're going to do all the data indexing and app scaffolding using, of course, all the tools. Next week, we are going to do the GeoSearch implementation using Algolia and Mapbox. So we're gonna create the necessary account when needed, and on the first week of July, so July the 7th, we're gonna implement the click and collect logic using Twilio, and then we will propose pop-up for the user to fill their phone numbers, and we're gonna send automatic texts. I hope you're gonna enjoy it. Okay, let's talk, and let's dive into the product we're gonna make today. So this is the preview. You've already seen it, and here we're gonna split up this part onto four items related on different parts of this video. So first, we're gonna explore all the technology choices we've made, and here I'm gonna use React, Tailwind, Clever Cloud, Algolia. You may know Algolia, you may know Tailwind. You know Algolia, of course. You know React, of course, and you may know Clever and Tailwind. Then we're going to create all the accounts. So there's a typo on the slides. We won't create the Mapbox account today. Then we're going to index data and configure everything around Algolia. And finally, we're going to set up the project with Create React App, Creco for overriding the configuration and Tailwind CSS. Plus, we're going to deploy it on Clever Cloud. Let's talk about the technology choices. So Algolia is available. Algolia wrappers is available basically in any JavaScript flavors. It could be Vue, it could be Vanilla JS for those who don't like any UI kits. It could be Angular, it could be whatever. Algolia is available in any technology. But because React is one of the biggest trends out there in the world, I've chosen Algolia. I've chosen to use React. Version 17. It's very well proof. So, and if I'm right, sorry about that, I'm gonna move onto full screen mode. Oops. So here I'm just going to move this sidebar a tiny bit. So for React, I assume you're developers. I assume you know React. So it's the V of the MVC framework. It's made by the team at Facebook. Started at Instagram in reality, but it's super powerful using this virtual DOM. It's now the version 18 alpha was just released a couple of days ago, but we're going to use the latest stable version known as version 17.0.2. Then we're going to use Tailwind CSS. Tailwind CSS is a superset of CSS framework to transform you into the most powerful designer. No, just joking. You always use a designer to make your product. And finally, we're going to use Clever Cloud to host our code. So Clever Cloud, this is the dashboard, but this is the marketing website. Knowing that Clever Cloud will help you focus on what you love, coding, and they will handle everything from security to maintaining to downtime to upscaling, downscaling, whatever. They're going to do everything nasty for you. And you focus on your code. You write, basically written on their website, you write code, they handle all the rest. Let's move back to the slides. Okay, so we talk about Clever Cloud, we talk about Tailwind, we talk about React, but of course in this deal there is also Algolia. So Algolia, for those who don't know it, is search as a service. And you're gonna basically upload your data, configure your indexes, but we're gonna talk a lot more in a few minutes about it. And it will make your item searchable as fast as lightning. As you can see, Algolia has more than 400,000 developers, and they perform more than 1.5 tera search operation. That's pretty amazing, and they are super fast. As a friendly reminder, I don't work for Algolia, but I really love them. Great. What's next here? Let's now create the account for the platforms. Sorry. So as we already are on the Algolia website, I'm gonna just create my account. So I'm gonna click on login. But as I don't have any, well, this address is my old startup. It doesn't exist anymore. And as I don't have any account, I'm gonna create my account with my email. I'm gonna provide one. So I'm developer at algolia.com. I'm gonna choose a password. And I'm gonna sign up with your email. I accept terms of services. Oh, damn, it's an SSO. Okay, fine. I'm gonna go back to a standard sign-in. And then I'm gonna use my personal account. So basically, they're gonna send you an email. You're gonna click on it to validate your account. Then they're gonna ask your first name, your last name, and whatsoever, all basic stuff, mainly as usual. And you're gonna be logged in into the dashboard. So now this is done. I'm gonna just log in with my own account using my super secret 1Password. Sorry for the notification. I'm gonna click login. And here I'm on the Algolia dashboard. Great, I have my Algolia account. Perfect. Now let's go and create your Clever Cloud account. So basically here, same thing, you click on sign up for free. Here, I invite you, if you have a GitHub account, to join with GitHub. But otherwise, you can just simply fill your email address, the password, and you will, as well as Algolia, get an email to validate it. Then you will need to add your SSH keys, and that's the reason I invite you to join with GitHub, because they're gonna copy their SSH key from your GitHub account to Clever Cloud, so that you will be able to push your code with the exact same key. So I already have an account for Clever Cloud, but it's pretty straightforward. They will ask for your first name, last name, company if you have one, VAT if you're an European company. That's all. I have an account, so I'm gonna just click on login, and I'm gonna log in with my GitHub account. Welcome to the Clever Cloud dashboard, and here you see that I got an organization named Algolia. So everything is set up. I'm just gonna leave this for now because I don't need to create a machine to get started. So let's quickly recap what we've done from here. So we have presented the project and we have created our accounts. We have created our accounts for Clever Cloud, of course, the cloud platform which will host the project. We have created our Algolia account. We will deep dive into indexing data in a very few minutes. And for the sake of this project, we will also need a Mapbox account, which is the provider for the maps. It's basically a competitor to Google Maps or Nokia Ear or Leaf Left or what framework you want. But Mapbox has the great advantage to have a well-furnished API to search for location, and we're going to use this on the second part of the video when we're going to deal with autocomplete with Algolia's autocomplete. And in the third part of the video, we are also going to need a Twilio for communication and sending SMSs. But as we do not need account for now, I won't create the account right away. Great. Let's switch back to the slides. So we got our accounts and now we need to index our data. And of course, to do that, you need stores. And as you don't have any, I'm very kindful and I have prepared this right for you. So if you just go on my gist at github.com/sauvhe, so my account basically, or if you have a telephone with a QR scanner, or if your computer can read QR code, which is kind of this kind of which your computer can do this nowadays. You can just scan this QR code, and you will end up to this website here, where you have a pretty huge JSON dataset with stores. We will dive onto this, the specificities of these stores once we will put them on Algolia. So for now, you just need to click on row to print the pure JSON file and hit save, or if you're on a Mac, Command S. And I'm gonna store this on my desktop as Spencer and William stores in format JSON. As you can see, I already have this here, so I will have a nifty pop-up saying that, hey, you already got this file. So I'm gonna hit replace, and perfect. I got the file here on my desktop. Great. Now, let's move forward and go to Algolia. Now you got your Algolia. I'm gonna hit dashboard, and here you have my nifty Algolia dashboard. I'm on my app named Algolia Demo Twitch. I'm gonna click next. I'm gonna click next here. Got it. And then I will click on the left sidebar. There is index. I'm gonna click here on index. As you see, I have two stores here. I'm just gonna create a new one by clicking on index little arrows here, and here I'm gonna click on create index. I'm gonna name this index Twitch live coding. Live coding with G, it's gonna be better. Done. It's creating the index, and yep, I got my index. And now you see that your records are kind of empty. It basically means that it's waiting for data. And here I'm just going to click on upload records, and I'm going to upload a file. From here, I'm just going to take this file from my desktop where I put the JSON from the GitHub, and I will click upload. And it's uploading records, and you'll see that it's going to be super, super fast. As you see here, I'm gonna just click on this sidebar right away. You see that Algolia has indexed the 3,282 stores in very few seconds, as fast as a lightning. Great. We will dive onto the specifics on of the object right away. So if I click here on show more attributes, it expands, the block expands, and it show all the properties of my store. So what I have here, I have the object ID, which is basically your basically database key, database index, which must be unique. If you don't provide one when you upload your record, Algolia will provide you with one. You got so it must be unique, as said, and we will use this as the reference key when we're going to build our mapping over our React component to keep things unique. We also get the name, which is the name of the store. We got the city where the store is located. We got the country. Here it's in Chad. And we got the underscore geoloc. Underscore geoloc is for Algolia's geolocation parameters. It provides you with the latitude. It provides you an object, sorry, with the latitude and the longitude. I always forget which one is horizontal and which one is vertical. We'll see that later next week when we're going to deal with geolocation. And we also got services. Services is an array of strings which shows which services is available on which store. So here on Anjamena Asad Jamus, we got free Wi-Fi and it's open 24/7. Oops, sorry, I don't know what happened. If I go to Pralin here in Seychelles, I see that I have package pickup and I have free Wi-Fi. Okay, great. So I have my 3,282 stores recorded. Now I need to configure this record. So I'm just gonna scroll up my screen and click on configuration. And here it shows that I don't have any searchable attributes. So that can be a pain. So I'm just gonna click on searchable attributes here. And I'm gonna click on name, on country, and on city, which basically mean that I will be able to search by name, country, and city. Pretty straightforward, isn't it? I click review and save settings. Great. To showcase this, I just can go there on browse, and I can just type I don't know, maybe Atlanta, and you see that here I got Atlanta highlighted on the name and on the city. Here I got Atlan here, sorry, on the city because it perfectly fit the search. Great, so we got our searchable attributes. Now let's move forward and let's click in ranking and sorting. It's the only parameters I haven't talked about. If I go back to browse on the different items in my store, in my store dictionary, I see that I have a key named popularity. And if I expand the others, you see that everyone has a popularity. If we take a look at some very important airport, so let's check the biggest one in the world, which is Atlanta. Here, you see that popularity is 1826. If I go to the one of the second biggest one, which is Heathrow in London, you see that the popularity is 1051, meaning that Heathrow, which is slightly less big, yeah, than Atlanta, has a lower popularity. It means that the highest the number is, the highest the popularity is. So we need to configure our index to organize our stores by popularity. So I click on configuration, I click on ranking and sorting. So basically, Algolia by default uh, is doing a textual ranking. So by name, by proximity in the name. It's basically something called fuzzy search if you've done some Elasticsearch work on it. But it's our job to configure the business logic. So here, I'm going to add a custom ranking attributes, and I'm going to click on popularity. And here it's the descending order, because the most the number is high, the most the store is popular. And I'm going to click on review and save settings. Great. Let's check that here. I'm going to click once more on browse, and on the search bar, I'm going to type France, because France. And here, on my airport about France, I see that it's filtered by the most popular, saying that the biggest airport in France is the Charles de Gaulle near Paris. The second one is on Orly, which is south of Paris, which has a popularity of 404. Oh, 404. Store not found. And sorry for the joke. And here, the Charles de Gaulle airport has a popularity of 1041, which is kind of big. I'm going to move back to my configuration here, and there I'm going to click on facets. Facets is the abilities to add attributes, to filter, and to sort item by. So basically, I want to add faceting for services and for countries. What is faceting in example? Here, you see that I got all my airport in my app. If I want to show only if I want to show only stores which are open 24/7, I just can click on open 24/7, and here I got all stores open 24/7. Same thing for free Wi-Fi. I can have both. Here I got all the airports, all the stores located in the airports with free Wi-Fi. So here I'm going to go back on Algolia, and I'm going to click on attributes for faceting. I'm going to click on add an attribute, and I want to add an attribute on services, and I want it to be searchable. And I'm going to add a new attributes here on country, which is also searchable. And I'm going to click review and save settings. Algolia is saving our configuration, and if I go back and click on browse here, you see that I have now two left side menus, where I have here a list of countries where our stores are located in, and a list of services. So I see that there is 1133 shops which have nearby delivery, and 1095 who have open 24/7. So if I click on it, then I got all the stores which provide these services on the Algolia dashboard. Pretty useful. And if I hit searchable, sorry about that, if I hit searchable, it's because I can want to click on country here, and I want to showcase stores which are located in Germany. I see that I own 33 shops in Germany, which is also pretty helpful. Great. Let's move forward, because our index is now fully configured. Well. So now we need to deep dive onto the code. I love that. It's my favorite part of the project. Of course, I'm an engineer. So we will create the app using Create React App with TypeScript, because it's the standard nowadays. And we also implement Tailwind CSS to leverage all this kind of stuff. And we're going to configure it. It's going to be the last part of our video. Great. See you in 1 second. Great. Now we got our accounts opened on platforms, and now we got our Algolia's account fully set up. We will need to create our project and scaffold it. So we will use React, we will use Tailwind CSS, and then we're going to push it on Clever Cloud. Great. So it's fairly simple here. I'm going to switch back to my desktop. I'm going to just increase slightly the size of my terminal here. And from here, I'm going to create a new React app using, I'm going to first move to my GitHub folder. I also have an Algolia folder, and here I'm gonna hit yarn, create a React app with things named store locator, Twitch, and I'm gonna use the template TypeScript. So it initializes all the stuff. We just need to wait a couple of minutes. It takes 3 to 4 minutes. It's building all the stuff, and great. So now we can move to store locator Twitch, and I can hit yarn start to start the project. But we're gonna slightly change the configuration. Why? It's fairly simple. If you don't know it, Create React App relies on React scripts, and React scripts under the hood relies on Webpack. And if you want to edit the configuration, you would need to eject all React script stuff, but it's very painful. If you don't want to dive into all Webpack configuration, there's a most simpler way using a package named Krakow. And Krakow means create React app configuration override. It's basically a simple superset of script which allows you to update the configuration. So we're going to add this as a developer dependencies. The difference between developer dependencies and dependencies is that you don't call developer dependencies inside of your code. You only relies on it to build the production file. So here I'm going to write yarn add with a dash capital D for add to developer dependencies, and the package name is add Craco, CRACO /CRACO. And I will also add the package serve, which is going to be super useful to generate an HTTP server to basically serve the production file once you want to push it on Clever Cloud. And hit enter. Great, it installed a bunch of stuff, and if we just take a look here at cat package.json, what we see here, this is a bunch of configuration. We got our dependencies, React, React-DOM, React Script, TypeScript, Web Vitals, and we also got our here developer dependencies, so Craco and Serve, which is perfectly fine. Great. Now we will add now we will need to update the configuration to use Craco. So here I'm gonna open my IDE. So I'm gonna move to, I'm using WebStorm as an IDE. You can use which one you prefer. I'm gonna here hit file and it's open here. I'm gonna go to GitHub, to Algolia, to store locator Twitch, open. It's preparing the workspace. The README, we're gonna edit it later on. It's not super useful right now. I'm gonna click on package.json here, and I'm gonna just switch React script by Craco. I just need to leave eject because we don't I need Craco to eject stuff. And I'm going to also change the start script by a dev script, because when we will run this in production mode, we don't want Craco to handle this, but we want serve to handle this. So I'm going to hit serve -s, and we're going to serve the build folder, because when we're going to run yarn build, it will generate a build folder to with the production stuff, and we're going to run it on port 8080 as requested by Clever Cloud. And I'm going to just hit right start here. Great. So here we are using Craco and Serve for building and deploying the project. Great. I can just move this slightly down. I'm gonna take this back a bit later. And then we can now install Tailwind CSS. Great. So here I'm just gonna write a new set of commands, which is gonna be yarn add. And here, what do I want? I want Tailwind CSS. And as Create React App doesn't support Post CSS version 8, I just need the version compatible with the version 7. So yarn add Tailwind CSS at npm with the version Post CSS 7 compat. You will find all these nifty comments on the blog post later this week. Okay, done. So I've installed a bunch of stuff. Now I need effectively Post CSS and auto prefixer. And for these specific reason, I need very specific versions. So give me just a second. For Post CSS, I need the version 7.0.33, and for auto prefixer, I need version 9.x. So here I'm gonna do simply yarn add as a developer dependencies, because I don't rely on that in my code. So it's Post CSS, and I need at version 7. And it didn't work. I don't know why. So I'm basically just gonna write the full version at 7.0.33. Okay, this works. And now I need to install auto prefixer. So auto prefixer is, for those who don't know it, is a nifty tool which will ensure that the CSS written will be the same and aesthetic on every single browser. Because as you may know, Mozilla, Chrome, and Opera, and now Edge also relies on different HTML engines, and if we don't take care of every single different subtleties, well, your website can look weird on one or another platform. So I'm going to add yarn add -d auto prefixer, and I'm going to need auto prefixer at version 9.8.6. Once more, you get all these version on the, and it didn't work. Why? Let's try this again. I might have done a mistake somewhere. I don't know where. So auto prefixer is correct. There is no typo on it. Auto prefixer at 8 maybe. Okay, fine. And here, if I take a look at my dev dependencies, I got Post CSS and I got auto prefixer added to the dev dependencies. Super. Once this is done, I need to write a simple script to handle Tailwind CSS and to handle auto prefixer. And this is done as a friendly reminder using Craco. So here on the store locator.twitch, I'm gonna create a new file, a new JavaScript file named Craco, Craco.config. Sorry, I can't increase the size of this because it's a software input. Craco.config.js here. And on this line, I'm gonna write simple, it's a simple JavaScript file. So I'm gonna write module.exports. It exports an object, and in this object, it's just gonna be a style key. And in this style key, I'm gonna write post CSS. And post CSS is also an object. And this post CSS object, there is a new key named plugin with an S, which takes an array. And him in this array, I need to put require here, and it's tailwind CSS. And I also need here auto prefixer. Sorry, require auto prefixer. That's great. Perfect. So now we got our craco.config.js working. So what I need to do now is to initialize Tailwind CSS. So Tailwind CSS is pretty huge out of the box. So the configuration we're going to provide help us reducing its size and defining the colors we need in the app. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move back to my terminal. I'm going to clear this. And here I'm going to use a nifty script provided by the team at Tailwind CSS, which is npx for Node Package Module Executor. And I'm going to hit Tailwind CSS at latest. And sorry, it's Tailwind CSS -CLI at latest. And I'm going to hit init. And here you see that it basically does nothing but create a Tailwind CSS config file in the folder, and the file is named tailwind.config.js. In this file, we need to do almost nothing. You can extend the colors, we can extend the fonts, we can do a bunch of other things. But here, for this video, I just need to edit the purge list. Basically, the purge is where is your file, your code file located. What it's going to do, it's going to parse the AST. So basically, you're going to parse the code, look for the class you use, store it in an array, and then Tailwind CSS plugin will get rid of every other classes you don't need, so that it will reduce drastically the size of the production bundle. So here, my code is located on /public. So relative path /public /index.html. We can have some Tailwind classes in the public.html file, and also /, and much more important, src, so the source files of the project. And here I need to add the pattern with the stars to match every file. So every folder, every file with the extension of TSX, TS, JS, and JSX. This will match every files in our system. Great. So now this is done. We just need to update one file. So we got the purge file, that's great. We got the src file, that's more great. And I'm also going to add a new plugin here because there's a plugin key. And as you may know, editing and styling form component is kind of hard. So I'm going to add a new package. So here it's yarn add -d, and it's add tailwind css/forms. This package will help us configuring and styling inputs. So I'm just going to copy add tailwind/forms, and in plugins, I'm going to exactly the same command in the create.config require the tailwind/forms. And I think we're going to be good for this. By example, if you want to add a font, basically, if you like any nifty Google font, you can go on extend here, theme extend, and add, by example, font family. And you can add a new bunch of Google fonts if you like it, or Adobe fonts, or whatever services you're using. But here it's not needed at this time of the video. Great, so this is working. So now I'm going to move to sources. And to make this app working, I can start the server using yarn dev. And hit enter. Let's check if everything is working as expected. So this is my old version. So it's not the expected version. Let's rerun here. Localhost 300. Okay, this is working. Pretty neat. But it's not using Tailwind yet, because we need to inject a bunch of code onto the CSS file. So I'm going to move to index.css here. I can basically remove everything, but I won't. I just will keep this. And I'm going to use add tailwind base, add tailwind components, and add tailwind utilities. And from here, you will see that the website will completely changed because it's now using Tailwind. I save this and I click it. And I'm going to remove all the basic code from here and from app.css. I'm going to also remove all this code. And here I'm going to write, I will take my app.tsx. Here I'm going to remove all these things. And I will work hello Algolia. And if we want to check here, I'm going to move this just slightly over. If I want to check, so I know that hello Algolia is kind of small for you to read, but if we want to check that Tailwind CSS is working, I'm just going to write here text 5XL. And you see that the classes is applied as expected. If I want to write it black, here I can type hello Algolia on the font black. It's working. If I want to set up a color, I can just do text blue 500. It's working as expected. Perfect. Now I'm gonna add my nifty logo. So my logo is you will find it on the repository, but I'm gonna add here on the source file a new directory named assets. And in this assets folder, I'm gonna drag and drop a nifty logo here. It's basically a simple SVG file. You can put anyone you want. I'm going to click add here. And one thing I wanted to show you before closing this video is that using Create React App and assuming that the latest version of Create React App adds a nifty package named SVGR, you can basically import anything, any SVGs, simply by typing import React component as here logo, and here I'm going to import it from assets/logo.svgs. And the very cool thing here is that you can just import your logo as a React component. You don't need to handle images processing, and that's pretty cool. And you can see that it's rendered as an SVG file. You can then, if it's a simple SVG, you can also style it using colors for stroke and lines. But as this is a complex SVG, I won't do it on this video. So that's all for the coding part because it was just scaffolding the app. So what we've done, we've created an app using Create React App and its TypeScript configuration template. And then we create the cryoco.configure.js here, which specify which plugin for post CSS you're going to use. And finally, we've created using npx tailwind CSS CLI init file this nifty configuration file where we set up the purge file and also the plugins, which will help us configure and styling fonts components, so inputs, checkboxes, whatever, whatsoever. Great. Let's move back to the slides. So now the project is fully configured. Let's move that. So we got everything working. I'm gonna push it on GitHub. You will find it. It's very straightforward. It's very straightforward. You can import it and run it as you want. And next week, so next Wednesday, Wednesday the 30th of June, we're gonna add basic geo search with Algolia. So we're gonna list here the shops referenced on our Algolia indexes. We're gonna add a map using Mapbox, and we're gonna also add address search by creating an Algolia autocomplete plugin. We're gonna deep dive onto all those subjects in next week. So until then, keep safe. Thank you for watching. You will find today's code at Algolia samples, github.com/Algolia samples.